6:35 p.m., I'd like to call the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees special meeting to order for the OPWC grant bid opening for Sanctuary View and alternate Willowbrook repairs. Roll call for attendance, please.
Kevin?
Here.
Sue?
Present.
Nick?
Here.
All right.
All right. We have a quorum. I would like to turn it over to our fiscal officer for the bid opening.
All right, good evening. We will now open the sealed bids received for our Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing project. This is a public bid opening. Today we will publicly identify each bidder and read the total bid amount received. The bids will then be reviewed by our engineer for completeness and compliance with the bid specifications before a recommendation for award is made at a future meeting. So, bid number 1, Barbika's Construction. Where's that? Scissors.
Sometimes they're tough, Jack.
Let's see if I got some.
Yeah, you can just repeat that.
Okay. This one?
Yep. That one, and then that
This
one. Yes.
All right. So for Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing, we have $172,344. That is 172,344. And then for Willowbrook Drive, we have $54,797. That is 54797.
Stuff them back in.
For bid number 2, we have Phillips Paving. All right. For Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing, we have a total base bid of $175,000, $606.50. Repeating, $175,606.50. And then for Willowbrook Drive, we have a total of $41,640. Repeating, 41640. For our third bid, we have Cardinal Asphalt. For Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing, we have $160,883. Repeating, 160,883. For Willowbrook Drive, $32,430. Repeating, 32430. For our third bid, Delta Asphalt. For Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing, we have a base bid of $164,493.50. Repeating, $164,493.50. Willowbrook Drive, $31,010. Repeating, 31010. Let's go with that. And for our final and fifth bid, we have Carvo Companies. for Sanctuary View Drive resurfacing. We have a total base bid of $204,128.50. Repeating, 204,128.50. For Willowbrook Drive, we have a total of $82,605. Repeating, 82,605. This concludes the public opening of the bids for the Sanctuary View Drive project. Thank you to everyone who submitted a bid. The bids will now be evaluated by the project engineer, and a recommendation will be presented to the board at a future meeting.
All right. I will entertain a motion from the board to accept the bids as presented to be sent to the Portage County Engineer's Office.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
All right, motion passed.
And then I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned.
6:51, see you at 7 o'clock. Trustees regular meeting to order. Roll call for attendance, please.
Kevin,
Here.
Sue,
Present.
Nick.
Here.
All right, quorum met.
All right, if everybody could, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Pastor Lex, would you please lead us in prayers?
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together to discuss the affairs of Brimfield Township. We pray that you be with the leadership, representatives, guide and direct the conversation. May it be pleasant, may it be glorifying to you, and may it be productive, and may there be resolutions, Lord. And may we honor you with everything said and done. We pray for your blessing. Amen.
All right, we will start with announcements and correspondences. Do we have any announcements or correspondences today?
Oh, I have something I want to share in that, let's see. Mike, I was going to say something about your nice comment that you got. Oh, okay, I've got it. It's come back. Being the liaison to the economic director and zoning, well, when we have a court date, we go over to prosecutor, we go over to the court and before the magistrate. And both sides are there and they present their issues, both opinions. And then afterwards, so far we've been very fortunate. We have been able to work with our residents, and all of them that we've had so far over the last few years, we've come to an agreement. We have not had to go to the regular court. So the new township attorney, his name is James Armstrong. He represents all the townships in the county. And so he was there on our behalf. So after it was over, we walked out and left to go back to come over here. And on the way there, we walked by the prosecutor's office over there. So we talked for a few minutes, and he gave Brimfield Township a wonderful blessing, I would call it. He said that he really appreciates the way that when we go to court, that everything is in order and it's not difficult for him. Everything is spelled out. All the facts are presented in the presentation that we give him, and he can do his job much more better for us. So he said hurrah for Brimfield and hurrah for our township board that we had, that things were really smooth for him. He appreciated it. So I think everybody should know that.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you, Mike, for all the hard work you do.
David, thank you.
Do we have any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, we have no scheduled meeting guests today. We do have meeting minutes to review from the July 6, 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion for meeting minutes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick.
Yes.
All right, minutes approved.
I'll now entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, for discussion, any changes to the agenda? I'd like to add under zoning and economic development, new business, updates. Actually, well, let's put it under board approval. So board approval number 3, it's going to be called Megan's Way Out. Any other changes to the agenda?
Fiscal has a change. I forgot to add this. Number 3, can you have a motion to approve the 2027 tax budget estimate?
Approval 2027 tax estimate. Any other changes? All right, hearing none, we have an amended agenda that includes zoning and economic development, new business, board approval number 3, Megan's Way Out, and fiscal office new business number 3, motion approval of 2027 tax estimate. Hearing no other changes, roll call for amended agenda.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick.
Yes.
Motion approved.
I'll now entertain a motion to accept the purchase orders as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on purchase orders?
No.
All right, hearing none, roll call for acceptance.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
purchase orders accepted.
And then I will entertain a motion to accept the warrants as presented.
So moved. Oh, go ahead.
I'll second.
Oh, so moved.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on warrants today? All right, hearing none, roll call for acceptance of warrants.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
warrants approved.
All right. This moves us into the public comment section of our meeting. We ask that those who speak, please step up to the lectern. We will give you 3 minutes to speak before the Board of Trustees. And we will start with Mr. Dave Seuss. As he's coming up, I will put the public comment sheet up here in case anybody else would like to sign in. Sir, the floor is yours. If you could pull the mic down just a little bit so it makes everybody can hear better. Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about data centers tonight. I have some of the same concerns about their use of resources like water and power and the various types of noise and light pollution associated with them. But tonight I want to call out 3 different examples of what I consider to be unintended consequences. On July 2nd, Energy Secretary Chris Wright directed PJM Interconnection, one of the nation's largest grid operators, to require data centers and other very large customers to use on-site backup power when needed during the extreme heat. Some energy experts were worried that the use of backup generators would significantly increase air pollution and noise pollution. In 2025, a data center in Georgia used approximately 30 million gallons of water. That's equivalent to about 44 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And the reason they got caught is because they weren't built for it. Depending on whether you ask the municipality or the operator, the time period of this usage was estimated to be anywhere from 4 to 15 months. So 30 million gallons of water in up to 15 months. However, nobody could answer whether that usage was due to the build-out of the facility or the operations. Third, on May 21st, there was a May 21st article in the New York Post that reported Georgia Power unveiled a $16 billion expansion plan and will use eminent domain to seize hundreds of properties for a 35-mile transmission corridor that is necessary to meet the increasing demands for artificial intelligence. 70 to 80% of the power that's going down that corridor will be for artificial intelligence. The other 20% will be for residences. Approximately 330 properties, some of which include people's homes, are now up for grabs. I don't mean to sound like I'm opposed to technology. I made a living in tech, and I use it every day to make my life easier. What I am opposed to is the feeding frenzy that's currently taking place to build out infrastructure and facilities for immature, bleeding-edge technology that may become obsolete in its current form in a matter of months or years. I'm also concerned about the type of data that's involved. If it's Facebook stuff, I consider that trivial. If it's military weaponry design, that raises a whole host of other concerns. It's my opinion that a 6-month moratorium is not long enough to uncover all of the issues associated with data centers. And in November, the township should extend that moratorium. We don't know much about these, and I don't think there's an understanding about the right questions to ask. Going forward, there are critical decisions to be made. The township's residents deserve, the appropriate due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. All right, next on our list is Pastor Dan Alexa.
I just wanted to quickly say thank you to the 3 trustees that showed up for the God Bless America rally. All of the help, time, effort put into it, and Jendi was delightful in helping me coordinate, plan a lot of that also. And then secondarily, I live in the Beechcrest allotments on the other side of 43 where we have Brimfield Lake there, and I've been meeting with the 300 homes that are involved with the lake. They're spending anywhere between like $8,000 to $14,000 to try to get the lake cleaned up. And I made another couple of calls to the township trustees, which directed me over to Dave Rufner. Had a great conversation with him, very helpful, very insightful. And what we're trying to do is clean that part of the lake up where we're able to enjoy it, swim, fish, etc. And I'm not sure what kind of a solution we can get toward that. But nonetheless, as I indicated, I know going to their meetings, our meetings, we're spending around $10,000 to try to get it clean. And don't know what the solution is. So if anybody has any input on that, that sure would be a help to the 300 homes that are there and for the preservation of Brimfield Lake. And thank you all for what you do. And thank you, Dave, for the good conversation.
No problem.
Thank you so much. All right, one last call for public comments. All right, hearing none, we'll move into safety concerns. Any safety concerns for tonight? Hearing no safety concerns, we will move into the business portion of our meeting, and we will start with the police department. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Nick. Calls for service, we're at 11,399 when I submitted my numbers, so we are still on pace to be over 20,000 calls for the year. Catching up to where we were a little bit behind in 2025, behind for 2025, but we're catching up. Just updates on old business. The board approved the life vac at the last board meeting, and we have received them. They've been assigned to all the vehicles. So every vehicle has a life vac, and then one vehicle a shift has an AED in it, so we can provide some life-saving measures before the fire department gets there if needed.
Would you want to explain what a life vac is?
It is basically a plunger over someone's mouth. So if they're choking, you use this device to get out of the airway or whatever's stuck in there. So instead of trying to do Heimlich maneuver or some of the physical tactics of this, actually creates a seal around the mouth, and you basically plunge out whatever's in there and clear the airway.
Thank you.
Updates, continuing, just remind the board again, we still have the Fast and Furious car show set for August 16th. That will be held at the Field High School, and the officers that are working on putting that together are still getting the awards and the people that are going to be involved and sponsors and vendors to be there for it. And for new business, I'm going to ask the board to consider approving a purchase order in the amount of $9,500 to Helmling Excavating to fix a water management and stormwater issue we've had the police department for the past 10 years, and it's gotten very bad.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the stormwater repair utilizing Hemley Excavating in the amount of $9,500 from Fund 2194 Brimfield, Kent and Jed Maintenance and Improvement.
Okay, so then this would be an improvement located at the police department.
Correct, that would be in
Okay.
Kent and Jed. So I'll need a motion for discussion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so this is behind the station, and we're getting excessive flooding back there, correct?
We've had Helmling run cameras through all our pipes. Everything's crushed. There's nothing for them to tie into. So we have two different problems. On the west side of the parking lot, you need a drawbridge to get to our dumpster. When it rains, it floods half the parking lot. On the other side, on the east side of the building, we've always had a water problem. It has got substantially worse. And we're almost flooding the police department. So the last big rain, we were probably about 2 inches from the evidence room being underwater. It's a slab building. Nothing's going to stop it. It's going to keep eroding away that corner. And we had Helmling Excavating out, and they put a French drain in for us, and we tried to do that. It's just not working. So we have to move to the next level. Unfortunately, that back corner of the police department is not one that we can have get flooded, because that is our property and evidence room. And there's always been a water problem there, but now it's not working.
Right. Mike Ladd, this falls under, because it's the M&I, we would say this is a maintenance and improvement correct?
Oh, yeah, for
We
sure.
tie well into that M&I.
Yep, yep, infrastructure.
Jasmine, are you good with the use of M&I from the Kent JED?
Yes, as long as it's an approved expense. Yes, I am okay.
Kevin, questions?
The only question I have, I saw the estimate from Helming. Is he fixing the parking lot when he's done, or you having that paved later?
He's doing all of that.
Okay,
That's
so
the total
that's
estimate.
included. It just wasn't on the estimate. Okay.
I do want to add that it is going to be right on the property line with Joe's Barbecue. I've talked to Joe multiple times about this, and we've been working together to try and find a fix. He's totally on board on whatever we do, so we might have to talk to legal counsel just to confirm easement-wise what leeway we have, because to do it right, we need to go in the lowest spot, and it's going to put us right on the property line between me and him.
Can we, just before, I'm not opposed to moving forward with it, to talk to council and maybe just get a signed agreement from him that we can be over there doing some of that work if we need to?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping that we would ask someone to write something up.
You want to approve it contingent upon that piece being added?
Yeah, I think that's fine, just to cover us from a legal standpoint, because we're probably gonna have to be on his property to do some work anyways.
Yes.
I don't anticipate a problem, but just legality-wise, I think having those signatures.
He's totally on board, it's just, I need someone with a law degree to write it.
Yeah, dot our i's, cross our t's. Are there any further questions on this improvement? So I'd like to amend the motion to include the agreement with Joe's Barbecue drafted by council prior to work. So we have a motion and a second that's been an amended motion with the improvement. Any other discussion? If not, roll call for the amended motion.
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes,
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that's all I have.
All right, do we have any questions or comments for police department tonight? All right, hearing none, we will move into fire.
Okay, thank you. Old business, engine obtained from Streetsboro Fire, I guess just small updates. Again, we're trying to have that ready for August 1st. Radios got put in today. It did get stickered and lettered. Some minor fixes that needed done got done by our mechanics. So we're right on pace. We gotta get hose on it and some tools, and should be ready for August 1st to have it up and running. So that's just an update on that. Before I go into new business, let's take care of board approval number 1, if we could. Can I do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I need the board to accept the resignation of firefighter Mason Wetzel effective July 17th, 2026. Mason was one of our entry-level firefighters who, just to make it short, decided he wanted to go back to college and try something else. So he resigned his position with us. So
I'll entertain a motion to accept the resignation of firefighter Mason Wetzel.
I'll make that motion.
second.
Any discussion on it? All right, upon completion of this, thank Mason for his service and his time
yeah,
with us.
of course, and he was nothing bad there. He just wanted to do something else. So and all the paperwork's been turned in and everything's taken care of right now.
Okay. How are we handling, is there any costs left over with schooling that we need to deal with?
No, we made it work.
Okay, we're able to settle
We
that
had
all the time.
we had to garnish the last 2 weeks of pay and do some other things, but that's all worked out.
Okay.
So,
How long had he been here?
almost 1 year.
Oh.
So, it's unfortunate. It's again, it's an entry-level firefighter we took a chance on. He wanted to be an engineer. That's what he decided. So, things happen, I guess. So,
No, it happens.
yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor for resignation. Roll call for acceptance.
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes,
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, so new business, I have to bring up, and we need to discuss fire levy options for discussion, and I have some notes here, and I'd like to have an interactive conversation with the board tonight. So bear with me on my notes here. We knew that coming into 2025 to 2024 was gonna be the peak of our operating, budget. We knew that 2025 was going to, start not sustaining our money. But as I sat down with the board and I sat down with fiscal office, we obviously took projections out for 5 years from now, and we realized that we're gonna be underwater at the end of this year by hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably 500,000 plus is what we're guessing. And like I said, if that's the peak of our money, so it's only going to get worse. And that's on our operating budgets. Current levies that we have out there right now, we have 2 levies. We have a fire 4.9 mil continuous levy, and we have a 1.7 mil EMS levy, which is a 5-year term. And then we have the shared levy between the admin and the fire department.
Oh,
for
can you speak
the
up a little
building.
bit louder, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Factors that are contributing to this is we just have such rapid growth in the township. Our standards of care have changed over the years, where it used to take 2 or 3 firemen. It takes 3 to 4 firemen to do the things that we need to do on the life-saving operations. So just things have changed in a good way, but it just takes more hands on that. As I stated on our current levies, we have not actually asked for new operating money. I say operating money because that's what it is, since 2014. So we've been self-sustaining on the 2014 money, up until now. But again, seeing that we're at the end of that operating money, we need to discuss what we do about that. Again, those gaps will continue to get bigger if we don't try a levy, I believe. And I'm sure you guys will talk about that also. When we talk about the equipment that we have kind of pushed the can down the road. We did buy a fire truck recently from Streetsboro at 26 years old, which I do believe is a good fire truck, but you try to replace fire vehicles at 25 years old. So I have 3 fire engines that are 26, 26, and 29 years old currently. So equipment is behind on where we need to be for standards. We're sharing equipment in between those trucks when we should have them fully stocked, but we just don't have the money for that. Talking about, as we get into options for levies to discuss, I know that the question would be brought up to me, so I went ahead and then just wrote some stuff down. What would we do if we do try to run a levy and it happened not to pass? And I just wanted to say the strides have been made already, knowing that the deficit of 2025 was here. We have made strides, including suspending our service contracts. The firefighters have already elected to take comp time instead of overtime, which has helped the budget. Staffing positions are not being filled. Currently, obviously, 3 minutes ago we had a resignation and we just won't fill that. Also in 2025, we had to eliminate the fire prevention position. And we had 3 firefighter resignations, including the one I just talked about this year. We did fill one with 1 entry-level firefighter, and then we'll have 1 other firefighter that will be leaving for the military in August, in a couple weeks. So staffing is down already. That's not what we wanted to do, but we have cut costs there already. So in total, again, 3 firefighter positions down this year, and then fire prevention not being filled. When we have filled those firefighter positions, you know that we've tried the entry-level firefighter position, so we're not hiring $70,000 to $80,000 firemen. We're hiring $30,000 firemen, which I love the program, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we are at the bottom level of trying to make that work also. So again, if you asked, I know you didn't, I was just trying to get ahead of it, what we're doing, we are making strides to cut dollars at every corner that we can. Just for an example though, when we talk about being down staffing, we had over 40 emergency calls over the last 5 days. Those calls included chest pains, respiratory distress, miscarriage, cardiac arrest, pepper spray, gunshot wound, nursing home calls, car fires, vehicle rollovers, motorcycle wrecks, down power lines, fire alarms, etc. What I'm trying to say is that we are only getting busier, and the calls we are going on are significant ALS calls, advanced life support calls. So if we get to the options that we do and we give it a try, what I think we need to do, even though nobody wants to talk about a levy, I have to try, I think, and we talked about that. That's the word I need to use. I have to try something, because I can't go back to the general fund and keep getting further and further behind. Could I stop there and just ask if there's any questions so far?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Service contracts suspended, what are they and where?
Those are the, those are our cot maintenance, our tool maintenance. We're just, usually you sign contracts with them to come out and service once per year. We're doing it ourselves.
And what kind of savings did that bring you?
I can only guess at that, but the contract's probably $10,000 in total. They're very hefty costs for those contracts.
Well, do you know if the school is planning on putting a levy on the ballot also?
They are not they're not right now, no.
Okay. Now, also, do you know how much is it gonna cost us to put a ballot, to get this ballot so people can vote? How
I
much
don't know
does
a
that
total
cost us?
cost on that. That is, so if there's 10 people that are on the ballot for November, they take that cost and they divide it, but they won't know yet.
They
So
won't
we
know
have
yet.
that cost. I know it's not significant. I believe it's under $1,000 typically,
Okay.
but I'm guessing at that. I won't know that yet.
Okay, thank you.
Keep going?
Now, let me ask a
Okay.
couple
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
too while we're here. All right, let's talk about staffing for a minute.
Okay.
What is minimum staffing on a call? And meaning this is what the bare bones that we could operate with, right? Not the perfect world where we'd like
3.
to have 6 hands, but we need to have 3.
Yep.
Okay, so we need a minimum of 3 staffing.
Yep.
With that said, how many do we currently have? What is our minimum on staff in the house on a shift?
Well, that's our,
So
our
minimum is
minimum is 3 also, so.
On a
So we can
average-
meet that standard.
On an average day, because we've added more staff, what does that take that number up to? What would we typically have on staff? We didn't have vacations happening this week.
Anywhere from 3 to 5.
Okay, so it could be up to 5.
Yeah. Is that probably fair to say?
Yeah, and so I guess my question is, could you run with 2 if you had to?
No.
Okay, so when we have 5 on staff, we actually have 2 people that aren't able to go run a second call. if
Well,
had
we
to.
do, but that's not, okay, that's a loaded question because it depends on what call comes in.
Yeah, and I'm just,
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to see, like,
If I have wires down, yeah, that's easy. I can run that with 1 or 2.
okay.
If I have a cardiac arrest, no, I need more hands for that. So it really just depends.
And I'm just looking at our staffing levels, right, and looking at that balance of, hey, we need 3 to run, 6 allows us to have two teams run at once, or can we run a 3-man team and a 2-man team where it makes sense to have those extra bodies on staff? And listen, I'm not looking at cutting.
No, I know you're not.
I'm looking at
No,
an
ask the
understanding of the balance.
Yeah,
of
and
the
it's a
staffing.
very hard question to answer because it just, I mean, there's so many variables to that, and I'm just thinking one off the top of my head. It might be a broken arm, but the patient's 350 pounds. You know what I mean? So it could be simple, but I need manpower. So it's just a very loaded question on that.
Yeah, and I know there's not a perfect answer. Let me ask another question on staffing then. Let's say that we're running a day where we have the 5 on staff, 3 go out on a call, 2 are still back at station. Does that trigger callback then?
It does not.
It
No.
does not.
No.
Okay, as long as somebody's in station, it does not trigger callback.
Correct. Correct.
But if all 5 go out, then it triggers callback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Correct.
So this helps control overtime by having additional staff here
Yes.
too, because then we have less callback.
Yeah, it does, and like I said, we're ending up hitting a lot of double calls, triple calls now. It's just getting busier.
Let's pivot over to fire prevention role. So fire prevention was a role that we had for a long time.
Correct.
Their job was inspections.
Yeah, they did. They were an officer on daytime shift, 8 to 4,
Okay.
with us that did inspections of the township.
So what's inspections have we stopped doing now because we don't have a fire
Well,
prevention officer?
Ron and myself have tried to keep up on the inspections, but we can't. So, the little, smaller buildings, the, let's say non-hazardous buildings are getting pushed to the wayside, but we're still trying to hit the bigger ones.
And these are what, annual inspections that
Yes.
we would used to do? Do we charge a fee for our annual inspections?
We do not.
Are we legally able to charge a fee for annual inspections?
We would have to ask on
I
that.
think that's an area that we need to explore. How about our initial inspection? So a new building's coming in, we do plan reviews, we push that money through to a third party that does the plan review, but we used to charge for that initial walkthrough, we still charge it for
We do,
that.
we do.
What do you think we brought in? Because we used to get those money on an annual basis. What do you think we're bringing in on that?
It's not much. Jasmine, would you know that at all? What we're bringing in for inspection fees?
Inspection fees?
Because I know in the past, it used to get
Because we
collected by.
mirror the zoning fees on some of those,
So-
but
The average was at 31,500.
That was before, or was that current?
That was from 19 to 2022.
and that sounds about right. If I had to throw a number out there, I thought we collected about 24,000 last year, but so.
Okay. I think we definitely need to have some more exploration in the charging. Obviously, we're not trying to put the mom and pops out of business. But
No,
the structured
of course
piece, right? Maybe it's $100 for a smaller building, do it by square footage, but that's additional funding that can help offset some. of
Well,
that.
and you know that, and the trustees know, I've tried to go back to the nursing homes and figure out a fee, because those are really hurting us. But I haven't got much traction because not many people in Ohio are able to do that. So I haven't got much traction on those either.
How about, oh, go ahead, Steve.
Are you required, or do you have to inspect those traveling food trucks that come in?
No, that was the board's request, but I mean, it's one or two trucks a year, so it's not gonna bring any money in. If that's what you're, if that's what you're
They are
asking.
being inspected though when they come in.
Yeah, we go over when we see them, but we look for the
Let
basic.
them know that
we
your
look for
fire
the-
department is here.
Yeah, we look for the basics of life safety, though, fire extinguisher and electrical cords and,
The big propane tanks.
yeah, I mean, other than that, it's
Okay.
really the health department that needs to inspect those.
Let's go back to fire prevention for a minute. So fire prevention was a 4th lieutenant, so now we have a lieutenant on shift.
Yep.
No plans unless a certain levy passes of bringing him back into fire prevention. If the levy doesn't go through, what are we gonna do? We got 2 lieutenants, 2 command staff sitting on 1 shift. Is there a discussion, and is there a cost savings if they were back down to
Well-
the line staff position?
So, if it doesn't pass, I made the decision to put that person on shift because we just need more hands in the field. That's more important to me right now,
Right.
so it would stay there,
They would stay as a lieutenant on shift?
yeah.
Because it just seems like we're spending extra money on a lieutenant position.
I have contract obligations on that,
Okay.
if that answers that.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking at
Yeah.
all the options here.
Yeah, but it's more important for me to have the people in the field right now running calls.
Can you go back over the levies that you have now? I think I missed one.
Yeah, we have a fire 4.9 mil continuous, and we have an EMS 1.7 mil 5-year term. So every 5 years we have to review
Then you said
that.
something about you're
And
in
then there's a-
partnership with the admin.
There's the shared admin building of 1.37 mil.
But that money
That's-
can't be used for anything,
yeah.
that's just the
No.
Yeah.
building.
Okay.
So my operating levies are 2. So my money as a whole, and then Kevin, I know you're not asking this, my money as a whole are the 2 levies plus the EMS billing.
No, I was just asking because I missed that last
Okay.
one. Thank you.
Those are my revenue
Okay.
resources.
And the 1.7 was the last one that you got, and that was 22?
1.7, yes, is 2014.
2014.
Is where we brought that up
Okay.
to 1.7. That was the last new money that was asked for.
When was it last renewed though? It's a 5-year.
20, hold on, I got it right here. 2024, it was renewed. November of 2024.
And at that time, we had made the decision not to ask for an increase because the projections we had been given showed that we didn't need the increase.
Correct. I was
Okay.
what I thought money ahead.
So, and you're proposing 3 levies, correct?
Yeah, and, yep, whenever you guys are ready, I'll talk to you about
Yeah,
those.
talk about that, and then
Okay.
I think we should put this display up. Can you put that up there for me?
So, as I met with the trustees individually and the fiscal office, and mainly the fiscal office, would be where I'd go with the most solid recommendation, because Jasmine does do the money, so we worked together, and we came up with 3 different levies to discuss tonight. Those would be a 1.5 mil, a 1.7 mil, and a 1.95 mil. In front of you, I gave what those equal out to a yearly cost and a monthly cost. We just need to discuss those. We need to discuss continuous or term, 5-year term on those. And then I guess I would just say, going into this, as I've done the numbers over and over, I truly believe that we need to be on the 1.95 mil to have sustainable fire department operating money. So I'll say that before you get into, I didn't see yours yet.
Yeah, it's
Before
gonna
you get into.
echo to what you kind of said.
Okay, but before you get into yours, we could go lower, but then I believe we're back into the begging the general fund for money. So if we want sustainable fire department money, we need to go toward the latter end.
Yeah. So before you do that, I think to get the board on the same page, so we all kind of play with the same information, and so is the public. These are projections based on where we're at. These are rough estimates. None of this is set in stone. These are us kind of guessing at what we predict the numbers would change. If you look at the first one here, that dark blue line that's diving, that's if we did nothing. We don't run a levy, we don't cut any costs, we don't make any changes. You can see by 2031, we're at negative $4 million in that fund. All right, that's making absolutely no changes, no operational differences. If we were to make no operational differences and run a 1.5 mil levy, it doesn't get us out of the hole. 1.7 mil doesn't get us out of the hole. The 1.95 gets us to a carryover balance of $111,000 in 2031. So it does get us there
So
with
we
no
match.
changes,
Yeah.
right? Now, with that said, let's see, the picture looks better as we move through this. Can you go to the next slide, please? So one of the questions we have is, well, you know, where does this come from? As you can see, this is salary versus revenue. So revenue is what we've been bringing in tax base, what we anticipate some of those increases to be from JED, other property improvements. We were really running at a 60% ratio. So 60% of revenue was salary. Salary continues to increase. Obviously, costs go up, it gets more expensive. But building more houses doesn't always equate to more money. We have 100 homes, and we collect $100. If we had 100 more homes, we get $100, everybody pays 50 cents, is how that works. All right, those levies don't automatically increase money to us unless there's a change to those levies. So as you see this by 2031, if we weren't to change anything, that goes to about a 75% ratio. So we go from 60% of revenue to 75% of revenue, which puts you in a dangerous operating space. Go 2 slides. The next one isn't a complete slide, that was just information. Where did we start to see the spike? The spike started in 2025. There were some administrative changes. There was what we call year-over-year other cost increases. Fire department saw a 19% increase in their year-over-year other costs, which I'll show here on another screen in a minute. 2026, we saw a 27% increase in that year-over-year. In 2027, we're projecting at a 7%, stabilizing at 3.5% moving forward in 2028. So these are increased costs they saw a large bump in, with it stabilizing in 2028. What is that? Well, if you go to the next slide, this is what we call the year-over-year. I give you a 2024, a 2026, and a 2031, just so it's more readable for the public there. You can see things like Medicare costs were kicked out of general fund over to fire because those are their Medicare costs. Pension funds were starting to be picked up there. Workers' compensation was moved over to their account. Those costs continue to rise and become more expensive. Equipment, tool, reimbursements, that becomes more expensive each year. We saw increases in multiple categories there. Go to the next one. This is where we're going to see the larger increases. Actually, no, leave it there for a second. Go back one. We saw one big increase. It's a little slow on the text side there. Takes a minute to catch up. We go back there. Go back once. Is that the first one? All right. Go forward one. There we go. If you look at medical hospitalization, that's been an increase as we've added staff. That cost us more money to cover those benefits for employees, and benefits cost have gone up some too. And then there's some cost increase projection in there. So we're seeing that there. Next slide. And then this is going to just be more of the same thing, more of the cost projections. You can see where we've seen increases, such as they're now paying their own utilities that weren't paid out of the general fund in the past. And this is across all departments, those changes were made. All right, they were transitioned back. As at the bottom there, you can see that year over year, other cost was about $375,000 in 2024. It's projected to be about $1.1 million in 2031. So take it to the next slide. And then I'll park it here for us to discuss, but this will talk about when we start making some changes, how we can extend that levy money by some internal changes that we can make also. I know that was a lot to digest. Questions? Move forward. If not, I can talk about some potential options for us. So the first potential option is that initial number that showed us at negative 4.5 million meant that the fire department was paying their ambulance bill themselves. The ambulance was approved back in, I think, 2024, Craig?
It was.
In that time, it was approved under the Board of Trustees with the intention that the fire fund wasn't paying for it, that the maintenance and improvement fund would be paying for that. Since that's been cleaned up, if we were to remove that vehicle purchase off of those line items, that now changes that deficit. That 1.95 gets us up to a 600,000 carryover in 2031, which almost gets us to where we need to be. About 900,000 is the carryover that would be the golden spot for the fire department. Why do they need 900,000? That is 3 months worth of bills. So if they can get to 3 months worth of bills, because we don't get our money on January 1, it doesn't pay out till mid to late March. So if they can have a 3 month carryover, that means that they can float themselves without the general fund floating it to be operational. So it also now makes 1.7 mil potentially viable, but it's still tight. At this point, with the M&I only picking up the ambulance, we're projecting that we would have about a $14,000 carryover, but you're in the positive at that point. What does that mean? Go to the next slide. If we were to pass a 1.95 mil levy in November, the JED M&I would have to cover that. And then the JED M&I would be still needed to do the 5% match on the fire engine if we were awarded a grant from the federal government. General fund is still going to be burdened at that point to carry carryover balances into March each year, and I don't think we'd be able to backfill the fire prevention at that point because that's not budgeted in there.
Right, and I agree with you, the 1.95 puts us close.
Yeah, and that's with one change. There's a
And that
couple
was
other-
without me looking at your slide, so. our
Yeah, and this is stuff
our
that I kind of
matches.
sent to you and we kind of
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah, it kind
also.
of matches.
If we go one more slide forward. Now, let's assume that, now Dave and Chris, hear me out on this for a minute. Let's just assume that we use the M&I fund to purchase the ambulance and we move $100,000 in JED funding to the fire department, split that allocation between general fund, police and fire somehow, some way, or we saw an increase of up to $100,000 in JED funding because of the growth in the district. That now takes that 1.95 mil levy up to an ending balance of 1.1 million, which puts you ahead of where you need to be, and now makes that 1.7 mil levy more viable with a projected $500,000 carryover. That's injecting essentially $1 million into the fire fund through other avenues. Go forward a slide. So that means we can do two things. If we're able to come up with that plan, we could pass a 1.7 mil levy, do the JED distributions. M&I would still cover the purchase of the ambulance. M&I would still pay for the fire engine. General fund would still carry over balances initially, and the prior fire prevention office couldn't be backfilled. Go to the next slide. At 1.95 mils, that means we could do the JED distribution. M&I pays for the ambulance. M&I covers the fire engine. General fund stops carrying the balance forward, starting in 29, and the fire prevention office could be backfilled at that point, and that allows us to start having that fire prevention piece, which is important to the community. The last option is if we were able to have an M&I purchase from the JED, $100,000 of additional JED funding, and we find $100,000 in budget cuts. If we could cut $100,000 in budget cuts in that area, there's some ways that we could do that potentially. We'd have to really kind of grind away and hope we saw JED increases, basically where that's coming from. That now makes the 1.5 mil viable and takes us up to 537,000 at the end of 2031. So there's a couple ways we could get there. Jasmine, I know that's a lot to digest. It's kind of sent you some of this information before too. There's a lot of what ifs.
Right.
To get to 1.5 mil, I think that's a dream project. That would take a lot for that to happen. Craig, you'd have to find a way to cut $100,000 a year.
And I don't have it.
Yeah, I mean that's just not backfilling positions and being down
Well,
staff.
but I'm negative 500 already, starting
Right.
into this year, so, I mean, to me, that's not a viable option to try.
Right.
Again, I keep using the words try because I'll say it again, I'll look at the public. I don't want to do this, I don't know what else to do right now. I have to try something.
And I really think option 2 becomes one of our better options there. Option 2 is ensuring that the M&I purchases the ambulance. I think that needs to be a discussion amongst the board, but that should be covered by the board because that was the original intention of that loan. I think looking at JED fund increase and distributions could help us make that more viable. I don't have the 100% answer here, but I wanted to give options. So, with all that said, Kevin is it. There's a fire hose of information. What are your thoughts?
Could I?
Or jump in, Craig,
while
too,
you're-
whoever.
While you're thinking about that, could I talk about the dollar values of these?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we look at, let's just go backwards, 1.95 mil, and you know, we always play this game of per $100,000 home valuation, so you would have to do your own math on there. But that is $5.67 a month. 1.7 mil is $5 a month, and 1.5 mil is $4.42 a month. I just did do some homework on the average home valuation of Brimfield Township, which came out to $235,000. I know everybody's give or take on that, but again, if you go backwards, 1.595 mil would be $13.62 a month. 1.7 would be $11.75 a month, and 1.5 would be $10.38 a month. So those are kind of where those sit. There's no good answer to that, but I just wanted to do the math for you and give you some numbers that were out there. So I guess what we need to discuss is, one, there are 3 levy options I proposed to you. We need to talk about if we choose one of those, do we want to do continuous or term? And if we proceed further in that point, we do need to do a resolution of necessity tonight. So those are kind of the things sitting on the table in front of you.
Craig, can you talk about why the resolution necessity has to happen tonight?
So August 5th is the deadline to get on to November. You have to do 2 resolutions. They cannot be done in the same meeting. You have to have a resolution of necessity and a resolution to proceed. So we couldn't do a resolution of necessity, close the meeting, open it back up tonight. It has to be 2 separate. I also have to get one of those passed tonight because I do not want to turn in paperwork on August 5th and there be a clerical error. So I wanted to give them a little bit of time, but we also know that August 5th is right around the corner. That's where we're at. I'll say one more thing and then I'll shut up. I really think that to have self-sustaining money, we need to be at the latter end, the 1.95 mil. And and I'll explain my answer, or my question, and that is self-sustaining does not rely on the JEDs all the time, we're going back to the general fund. If we want to, as you discussed, add those things in, and it would be hard to say guarantee, but kind of guarantee, we can go toward the other one. If we want to be self-sustaining, we need to be toward the other end.
Yeah, well, if Jed and M&I pick up nothing, you have no choice but to be at a 1.95 million.
But even if you said, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, even if you said today, hey, yeah, we can do that, do we know what 3 years from now we're going to be? You know what I mean? If we
Right.
want to actually try for something that can be self-sustaining, we need to be toward the 1.95.
Well, I know you and I have had this conversation, and let's talk about continuous term first. I am in the boat of a 5-year term levy, knowing that there's a 1.7 mil renewal out there. I think you look at the status of everything later down the road. I don't think a permanent continuous levy is the option right now. We don't know what tax funding is going to look like. We don't know what the JED's going to stabilize at as we move forward. I'm personally leaning more towards a 5-year term if we're going to put this on the ballot. Kevin, Sue, what are your thoughts on it?
I would agree with that.
In a continuous, it just never goes away. And things change. So I wouldn't go for a continuous levy because our situations here in our community may change enough that we really need to vote on something, say, like every 5 years. And let it be sort of stabilized at that 5 years instead of just going on and on and on.
I think the other concern is while we have been working to stabilize and slow growth a little bit, not stop growth, but grow it more sustainably, there's still a lot of faster moving pieces still happening out there. Mike Ladd, would you say over the next few years we're going to still see that kind of faster growth till things stabilize from the changes we're making?
Yes, I foresee a lot of growth still happening over the next 5 years.
So if we go into continuous now, we've capped ourselves. Remember the story of if we collect $100 today and we add 100 more homes, that continuous isn't going to get you any more money. You're locked in with those $100.
Right.
And that makes it a little more difficult where the 5-year allows for better valuation, maybe a lower millage based on the number of homes in the future.
I agree.
So if we're looking at a 5-year term potential, the next question is millage. Kind of give this over to Sue and Kevin. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
Well, this here says it's $4.42 for every $100,000 of my home value. Hey, I'm retired. I live in Beechcrest. That was the first housing development that ever came to Brimfield in 1962, and I live on a concrete slab. And when I see that if the valuation is $235,000 here, that means my $4.42 a month is going to be twice that. So my Social Security, I'm going to be retiring here when my term's up. I'm going to be down $25,000 in income just by not being a township trustee. That's hard to take. So I understand what you're saying. I know that we have to do what we have to do, but I'm not happy with it.
I would say for economic development, I mean, you need good police, fire, and schools. That's a must for development, so I'm all for it.
Well, not only development, but retaining home value, right? When those things start to degrade, the value of your home, your investment starts to degrade
Well, your
also.
schools go down too.
Yeah. Listen, this is a bigger issue than Brimfield Township. This is a statewide issue.
Mm-hmm.
The costs are going to continue to go up. Fire department, police department, road department, it doesn't matter who you are, your costs are going up every year because pay's got to go up for our staff because the cost of goods are going up. We can't pay them at 2010 wages and expect them to be able to feed their families. But taxes don't move with that. And I understand, we have people on a fixed budget. It's
They're
hard.
very, very fixed.
But until the state comes with a better way for us to fund emergency services, what do we do?
Well, the state wants to take away property taxes. They do that, what's going to support your police and your fire and your road? We all cease to exist.
Becomes income tax, becomes a sales tax. There's 100 routes that goes, but with the cards that we're dealt now, the way that we have to operate, I don't know another way, and I don't Roy, if you have anything to kick in on this, how we continue to operate without asking for levies or increases on our levies, because costs are gonna continue to go up every year. It's just, we all see it. I mean, I deal with it. I go to the grocery store. Milk's not what it used to be. Ground beef used to be $3 a pound. I can't find ground beef for $3 a pound anymore. Look, you know, as you can see, our costs, as I kind of projected there early, the cost of salaries are increasing. It's not because they're asking for drastic increases. It's just that 3% increases that they've gotten, but revenue doesn't increase. And we're not a manufacturing facility. I can't produce another widget to sell. I can't increase the cost of my widgets on my own. We have to ask the voters to increase the widget cost.
Well, I just say they all need to come out and vote.
Well, but we have to take into consideration, if the levy doesn't happen, you saw that, we're negative
Yeah,
$4
we're
million
negative in the hole, really bad.
2031.
Do we have that plan?
No. I mean, I can't answer that right now. I mean, I think the positive note on this is I said it 3 or 4 times, I have to try. I
Right.
have to, we have to take a sustainable option and I have to try. And then we'll deal with that when it gets to that, is the best answer I can give you.
Mike, is there any options under TIFs?
Yeah, I mean, so your TIFs could, I mean, we've tried with the police and fire before, and I emailed Mark Adetti prior to this. So there's several things, and Roy had a great idea as we talked about it, but your TIFs typically are public roads and highways, water and sewer lines, remediation required by EPA, land acquisition for economic development purposes, certain demolitions when needed to economic development, facilities to provide gas, electric, communication services, or enhancements of public waterways. Now, that's not all inclusive, that's just a broad term, but I think there's a way of doing it just like we did with police tonight. We're not going to be taking the funds out of the police, we're going out of the M&I to fix the storm sewers, which is good. And I think with the TIFs that, you know, maybe if you put more into the roads with the TIFs, it frees up money somewhere else in the budget. I don't know how that looks. That's something you'd have to sit down in a staff meeting and go through and try to leverage those dollars, you know, where you're saving in one place and moving it around.
You know, we can't take the road dollars, but we could leverage how we disperse the jet dollars.
Correct.
And still keep Dave full or more than full than when he was getting the jet.
By giving
but then
him-
push more of the
Giving
jet over
him,
the
giving
fire.
him the TIF money and then creating the M&I for the other safety forces.
Right. So that becomes a viable option out there to help. I think the other one too, Craig, and I really think if this levy is gonna get voted on tonight, is that we need to explore and have an answer at the next meeting. Can we start charging for inspections? And then that extra lieutenant who's working on shift and you and Ron are gonna have to go out there and start doing inspections, right? Like, we gotta do more with less. I know the position isn't filled, but that's $50,000 coming in. That's half of what we need in that cost reduction that we talked about.
Well, I will say again that I can do that, but I need to run emergency calls, and I need the staffing to run those calls. So having someone on inspections is not as important as an unresponsive patient. So
And I hear that, but
the
there's-
bodies are needed there right now.
But we have to learn how to do more with less. We gotta find some time there too, right? When we're at full staffing, can we schedule some inspections during those days? Can you and Ron work your schedule a little bit to get out there and do some of those inspections so we start to bring some of that money in? And then we all gotta roll up our sleeves and do some of that when we're asking the voters for more money.
Well, don't think we're not. We are.
Right, I'm just looking at if we can add these, right? Where's those additional, we have to find those additional pieces. Jasmine, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think are relatively simple. As you guys have stated, that the cost of things are constantly increasing. And since our revenue hasn't increased for fire, it just makes sense to try to get additional revenue to help balance out those expenses. Because just like in our regular daily lives, things are going to continue to increase. So it doesn't make sense for it not to happen with us as a township as a whole either. So the only way to do that is, at this moment, is to try to get additional monies. And currently, this is our most viable option at the moment.
Roy, from a business standpoint?
I just think you're dealing with the resources you have available to us at this time, which aren't the most ideal choices in the world. I think everybody understands that. Jasmine, can you touch on, did the auditor's office have some feedback as far as kind of looking at a plan going forward with as they had looked at us overall from a financial perspective? One of the questions I think that they raised in our discussions was looking for a plan for the fire department from a budgetary perspective, right?
Right, so, yeah, so with meeting with the auditor's office, they are aware of the kind of financial strains that the fire department is undergoing, and they do want a plan of how do we plan to kind of balance or get us whole for the most part. They did say that they would recommend a levy. That would be one of their recommendations, because since we don't have as many services like other like city revenues and things of that nature, like charging like for parking and things of that nature, that they did say that running a levy would be important, because I'm not sure what would happen if we didn't run a levy, but I do know that we would be probably labeled as a fiscal watch or fiscal caution or distress. And I believe that's when, unfortunately, the state will have to step in. And I don't think we want that to happen, because then they would be more in control we would ultimately have control, but they would be more so here as probably as a guide to be like, well, this is more something that you should do. And I don't think that's what we want to do. I do think that if we are able to make ourselves whole and our community is willing to step up and help us, I believe that that would be the best option for us.
So the question becomes millage. Are we at 1.95?
I would go 1.7.
Or do we try to run 1.7, and that, Jasmine, means you gotta sharpen your pencil even sharper and try to cut some more, and Craig, we gotta run as thin as possible at that point.
Oh, Craig, can I ask you, I know you kind of were leaning towards continuous.
Yeah.
It loses value over time, basically.
I'm open to either one.
Okay.
I mean,
I just wanted to know what the
Well-
reasoning was for because you kind of shoot yourself in the foot with.
well, really, I just wanted to lay both options in front of you.
Okay.
And as we talked before, if we do the 5-year term, we're hitting the public every 2.5 years with a renewal, which is just a renewal, but sometimes people don't understand that. So it just makes it every 2.5 years, I'm going back saying renewal. But I'm open to either.
What do you think, 1.95, 1.7? 1.95 positions us to be the most successful, but I'm also aware of the financial constraints. Right?
And things are
It's
going
tough
to
out there.
change. You know, Mike's saying things are looking positive on the JED funds. I mean, things are going to change. May not always be this bad. I guess it could always be worse too.
We're talking less than $2 difference between a 1.7 mil and 1.95 mil.
If I can add my input, as a homeowner, and also, just as a fiscal officer of a township, I would recommend going the 1.95 mil, especially if we're only going to do it for a 5-term. I believe that will put us in the most ideal position. And then we can reevaluate ourselves when it is time to renew. So that way, we probably could seek a lower millage at that time.
So kind of stabilize, reevaluate, and then adjust from there.
Right.
Kevin, Sue, 1.9?
Yeah.
Sue?
No, I was at 1.7.
All
I
right,
know, I
let's-
changed my mind, you know. Women can do that.
Oh, I know. I'm
I got,
married.
if, like Jasmine says, if we go with a 1.9 for 5 years, then at that time, you may be enough that you could do renewals after that and not have,
Renewal at a lower number too, because we might have more housing, more business, more jet.
yeah, okay, I never thought of that. That's okay.
Tell you what, I'll entertain a motion to approve a fire levy resolution of necessity in the amount of 1.95 mils in name only. I need somebody to make that motion
For 5 years.
for a 5-year term.
Do you want me to make that?
Go ahead.
I will make that motion. Because at the end of that 5 years, you get to juggle it all around again, and if you've improved, then they can lower that some. If that 1.9 gives us the income and the money to operate.
So we got a motion, we need a second.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second on a 1.95 mil fire levy resolution of necessity for 5-year term in name only. Is there any further discussion on this? There will be an opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting today, and then we will also have to have another meeting in order to do, it's the resolution to proceed. Thank you.
And we will have to have probably a special meeting for that.
A special meeting for that, which we discussed. So, we have motion second on the floor, roll call to accept.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, and again, I just want to say thank you, and I know it's not easy and it's going to be very tough, but I think it's the most viable option that we have to try. Again, I'll use that word try. So thank you, and I'll follow up with the next steps on that.
Okay. We have additional comments or questions for fire department tonight? All right, hearing none, we'll move into the administration piece.
I'm sorry, real
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
Jasmine has the paperwork that you all will have to sign
Yep.
before you leave. Thank you.
Yep, we'll make sure it gets signed tonight.
That's all I had.
All right. Administration, property tax payments, township owned parcels that still sit in the state of Ohio. JED M&I reimbursement. Roy, do we have an update on that from legal yet?
We do not have been in communication on this. I think our attorney was going to communicate directly with the auditor's office on that piece, and we're just still waiting on that. Jasmine, I think I've CC'd you on a couple of those communications as well, so
Yes.
that's still in a holding pattern. We'll try our best to get that resolved, so for your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any updates on the Alpha 11 Veterans Logistics POW observance?
No changes have been in communication on this, and we know for sure we're going to be on that date on the 18th. It's going to be at 11 o'clock a.m. at the gazebo, and I'm waiting for him to get me some information on what that event's going to constitute and advertising out to the community. So the date and time have been set. We're just working for some more advertising logistics on that.
And then we have NOPEC preferred pricing.
Yeah, this is a follow-up to our discussion at the last meeting. As you know, Brimfield Township is, we are a member of NOPEC, and one of the resources we have available to us is their preferred pricing program for municipalities, and obviously we fall under that umbrella. So I've reached out to them as a follow-up to the gentleman's presentation to us at the last meeting. They're going to be, I've given them access to some data relative to our billing for electricity costs and natural gas costs, and they're going to be putting together some data for us to see if we can realize a cost savings from the township level on both electricity and gas. So that's no cost to the township, no obligation for anything to the township. It's just something that our membership in NOPEC provides. So once they get back to me with that data, I can present that to the board, and we may have a potential to realize some savings, but I'll know more once I get the data.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda. There are two things that we need to add to the agenda today. One is going to be under administration, old business updates, sports fields. So we need to talk about that. And we'll also put that under board approval, sports fields, just in case we do have a change to that, under old business. And then under new business, board approval, it'll be board approval number 2, will be special meeting date. All right, I'll make that motion. I need a second for that amendment.
I'll make the second.
All right, roll call?
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, that'll bring us into sports fields. Do you want to lead this, or you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, you want to touch on that real quick, Nick, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so as we talked about at the beginning of the year, we opened up sports field rentals. We originally set that at $2,000 rate for the soccer fields, $2,000 for the baseball fields, exclusive use for that time. We found as that moved forward that baseball didn't want to use it the whole time. They just wanted to do some single events. We made a decision to move it, I believe it was $20 or $30? $20 or $30 per day to utilize it. So soccer has reached out to us. We have, they get first dibs on all fields for the fall time. Baseball gets first dibs on baseball fields in the springtime. Soccer would like to utilize both the town center soccer fields and the outfields for fall soccer because they have more players in the fall time. But that would come at a cost of $4,000 for the year for them. I think they're looking at, would we do that at a discounted rate to them? Now, with that said, we've not heard back from the Baseball Association at this point for fall time. I know that they were trying to get some teams together. They were struggling to get enough players and decided they were going to have teams playing this fall. So soccer needs to lock in dates. Baseball's going to have to lock in dates soon. If there's no interest from baseball to utilize those fields, is this something that we want to offer them at a discounted rate, or do we just want to tell them, hey, the cost is $2,000, it is $2,000 if you want to use it?
What kind of discount are they asking for?
They haven't really said. They were under the assumption they were going to get both fields for $2,000. I said that's not what the agreement was. And then they had communication with Roy and I via email and asked us to send them an updated invoice. So I was trying to figure out what we want to do with that updated invoice. Now, they do have the option of just renting for when they want to play games, pay the $20 or $30 for game days too. If the board wants to leave it just as is, it's fine. I just wanted to bring it to discussion.
So what's fair? Sports is not my thing. I'm out of my element.
Some communities don't charge anything. Some communities charge thousands of dollars.
What did we do a year ago?
We charged a couple hundred bucks.
Well, let's keep it like it is and don't mess with it.
Okay.
Don't ruffle any feathers.
I'm fine with that. I just bringing forward the message
Yeah.
that we have that communication. So we just leave it at 2,000 and 2,000, so it'd be 4,000 for one piece for the season.
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
That brings up the second question then. We've already had an inquiry into renting the baseball fields in the springtime. That's when baseball's the busiest. But it's an outside the township team. The internal rule has always been allow Brimfield Athletic Association, which is the baseball teams, to rent first, have first dibs in the springtime. If they turned it down, then it went to field youth soccer. If they turned it down, then we opened it up to the public. I'm not saying we change that, but what I'm asking for is we should probably set some dates to that so that these teams can get their registration in where they want to play. We have a team that's willing to rent that baseball field all out for the entire spring season if it gets turned down by those two. But obviously they got to get rosters in, they got to get field submitted to commission in a timely manner. So I think as a board we should set some deadlines around that, or we can just say, Roy, as township administrator, you can set those deadlines internally, but we need to be able to communicate that well to that third party.
I don't have a problem setting deadlines or dates. Don't ask me what those would be.
I mean, I think you'd reasonably say baseball, you got to make a decision by January 15th, field soccer by January, the last day of January 31st, and then it opens up to the public after that. Like it's
Actually, it sounds reasonable.
for springtime.
Sounds
Do
fair to
something
me.
Similar
Right.
for the fall time. But that way, we might get a full rental out of that. But I would also say, we should probably, because when they're outside teams, they're gonna be travel teams, we probably shouldn't charge them the same rate we're gonna charge our residents. So it should probably be an increase on that. If it's $2,000 for the season, my recommendation would be we charge them $3,000 for the season. If they want
That's
that
fine.
season.
That makes sense.
Right? This way we're taking care of our residents at the
Right.
same time.
Back to the soccer fields though, they paid $2,000 for spring, right?
Correct.
Just for one field.
Well, yes, they were playing on the outfield because they can actually, honestly, anybody can go play on the outfield or the soccer fields and not pay anything. It's if you pay, you're guaranteed that time. So
But
if
they
you
didn't-
show up to the outfields and you didn't pay for it, and then a resident who rented the field shows up, that's gonna cancel your game, because they're gonna trump you on that.
But they didn't have a problem with the 2,000 in the spring.
For the
For the
township.
one.
But I think they thought in the back of their mind, because they were playing in the outfields, that they paid 2,000 for the whole thing.
Okay.
So that's where that confusion came in. But there was no baseball happening, so there was never a cross there.
Okay.
We used to allow both teams to play at the same time, but then our insurance provider gave us a letter that said we can't do that, because there was a fear that the balls from the baseball kids playing could end up on the soccer field. So once we had that, we couldn't legitimately do dual rental.
Okay.
So, I'll entertain a motion to set the registration period to be January 1 to January 15th for baseball for spring season, January 16th to the 31st for soccer, and then February 1st opens up to anybody for rental. Outside sports team rentals will be 50% increase, because we should increase it on that day-to-day rental too, so 50% higher than what our residents' rate is.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I'll make the motion.
All right, so we got a motion,
I'll second
a motion, a second, any discussion on that? Does that work for you, Greg?
That works.
Okay, roll call?
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
it. Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right. We're down to board approval. Board, this is back to you.
Am I over on, okay.
Yeah, motion terminating.
Yep. Follow up to the board from our previous discussions. I'm asking the board tonight for a motion for the board to determine that the vacant properties located at 1988 Old Forge Road and 3761 Selnick Road with the parcel numbers noted are no longer needed for public use, and authorizing the township administrator to sell the properties utilizing the online auction site GovDeals in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 50510. So this is a follow-up to the discussion we had previously on those two parcels of property. We've got a resource, and as you know, under 50510, there's a couple different routes a township can go. We can go under a public auction, or we can go through sealed bid. We are currently utilizing GovDeals as a resource for disposing of property and for online auctions. Had a chance to talk with GovDeals when we were at the OTA conference in January, and I had a chance to have a phone conversation with our regional rep this afternoon as well. So we do have an option to sell these properties utilizing GovDeals. There'd be no cost to the township to do that. Any fees associated with that would be built into the online auctions through GovDeals and would be paid by the buyer. Tapping into GovDeals gives us an opportunity to tap into 5 million bidders. They are the largest seller of government real estate in the country. Going through GovDeals is also going to give us exposure on MLS. So we'll get exposed that way through MLS, as well as other real estate sites that are connected through GovDeals. So we're going to get exposure to those two properties that way. Springfield Township actually currently has 3 different parcels listed on GovDeals, so our neighbors next door are utilizing this resource. So from my perspective, I think it makes sense to take advantage of this opportunity to at least get these properties listed and utilize GovDeals on that going forward. And I can follow up with the board with the logistics on that.
For discussion purposes, I'll accept a motion determining vacant properties located at 1988 Old Forge and 3761 Selnick are no longer needed for public use, and authorizing township administrator to sell the properties utilizing the online auction site GovDeals in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 505.10.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we got a motion second, discussion on the floor. So, I guess my first question would be, this is gonna give us that coverage that we were trying to get through the real estate agent, but just through there.
The exposure, that's correct.
Okay.
There's a direct link to MLS.
That's my biggest concern. I just want to
Sure.
make sure that it's known out there, because if it's hidden away, that I think for me, one of the pros/cons of GovDeals is everybody sees that live action happening. Where sealed bid, it's more you don't know, so you can
Correct.
go all in with it.
Yeah, I think that's something that has been emphasized, correct.
With that said, if we get proper exposure, then I just don't want to see us lose the property at a very low rate.
So you're gonna have, as the township, we're gonna have control over that. So let's say hypothetically that auction goes up, we put it up for a 30-day period. What comes back, you have an opportunity as the township to then evaluate those bids that come in. The township controls that. So you can look at that and go, you know what, that high bid that came in is acceptable. We're going to take that. Or you can look at that and say, you know, we're gonna decline that. Again, repost it again for another 30-day period. So we're gonna retain that type of control over that if we don't think you're getting the value that you're looking for.
Do we set a minimum, or do we just have a declination?
There's a declinations. Generally, what they do is they open it up. They generally discourage putting reserves on there. When you put a reserve on, they think that discourages bidding. Their experience is you have more success by just going in and generally opening up at what do you think 10% of what you think it'll sell for, and then going forward from that particular point. That's what Gov Deals emphasize, where they get more exposures and more bids on it, as opposed to putting a reserve not met kind of flashing red on it. So that was his recommendation when we do the initial posting. But again, at the end of the day, at the end of the auction, we're going to have an opportunity to look and evaluate that, see what that bid is, and the board can decide, yes, that's acceptable to us, or no, it's not.
Could we back out at that point too from Gov Deals and say, you know what, we tried it for 2 30-day runs, we're not happy with this, we're gonna go to a sealed bid?
Correct. You're going to retain that ability if you decide at some point in the future you want to change tracks.
Okay, I just don't wanna lock us into something, because I think that there's pros and cons, right? Sealed bid encourages people to go to what they think is their most comfortable highest, where online, people are gonna go the penny over $100, whatever increment we set that at.
Yep.
What's your thoughts, Kevin?
This is a much better option.
Okay.
Live bidding's always better. Gives you a chance to see what you're buying, see what the other guy bids.
Do they reserve right on those bids to say that they can decline the bid after, for example, do they get to go out and perk test? Do they get to go out and look at the property after the bid is accepted, or are they just locked into it and they have to take it?
I
as
think
is?
once they bid, I think they're locked into it, but there's some specific disclaimer language that goes into the listing, and I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me right now.
Right.
But a lot of that verbiage you're alluding to, the obligations to the buyer, et cetera, is built into the disclaimer language as part of the actual auction itself.
So I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like Springfield, it's you're buying it as is.
Okay, so that
They-
you don't get to do the pre-test
No,
to see if
no.
well, the.
But they do get to ask questions.
Okay.
So like on one of Springfield's, they said, is it zoned for building a house? And they said, as far as Springfield, yes, you can build a house, but you need to get with the county building department. So there's still communications, it's not, but yeah, it's listed as is.
Okay, so they can't back out based on
No.
soil, because we don't know anything about property, so we can't
Right.
really
No.
state isn't good back.
No, I know in Springfield it says as is, so,
Okay,
yeah.
Sue, thoughts?
I think it's good with this Gov Deals on the online option.
Lose the property, that was our goal.
Mhm.
Further discussion on property sale. Yasmin, you good with this route?
Yes.
All right, roll call to accept Gov Deals.
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that's all I have, thank you.
All right, we do have one amendment on their special meeting date. We are going to need to have a special meeting based upon the levy piece. Looking at calendars now. We could potentially do a special meeting next Monday. This is going to be for the levy. I would anticipate that we will have residents here that are going to want to speak. Monday next week is the only day I could do. I
Me
don't know what
too.
your schedules look like.
I got Young and Hard at 10 o'clock at Mike's for Monday.
Craig, does Monday work for you?
It does. Are you saying day, evening?
Well, that's gonna be the next question. Kevin, what are your,
I'm open.
I wanna make it available for the public. I do have volleyball from 6 to 7:30. I'm supposed to coach, but I can have somebody else cover for me if need be. It's our first practice, but that's all right. Unless we wanna go later or earlier. I don't know if 5 PM gives people enough time to get
I'd really like to stay at 7-ish,
here. Okay.
you know. 7:30. 7 would be best, I think. Just consistent with everything else we're doing.
Right. Yeah, let's do 7, because we can have the parent meeting before at the beginning of practice.
I mean, we could do 7:30 if it helps you. I mean, at least it's 7 o'clock-ish hour.
No, if we do 7, and we start practice 6:15, we'll be done with parent meeting by 6:30, and I can drive over.
Okay.
So let's do 7 PM on Monday, the 27th.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to hold a special meeting to discuss, what is it, Greg?
Resolution to proceed.
Resolution to proceed at 7 PM on Monday, July 27th.
And then I'll just have that paperwork ready.
Okay. It's a motion, I need a second.
Oh, second.
All right, roll call to hold the meeting, then?
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passed.
All right, it's gonna move us into zoning and economic development.
Thanks, Nick. Permit fees year-to-date, $33,790.15. Zoning Commission updates, had an update to Appendix E to allow service stations as a conditional permitted accessory use was approved by the Zoning Commission and Regional Planning and has been sent to the trustees for their review. The Zoning Commission heard a request to rezone parcel number 04/014/00000004/000, 3 zeros at the end, sorry. Lot west of 1215 Howe Road from R1 to IC. A public hearing will be held on August 13th at 6:30. This is Tri-County, so they're looking to purchase the property behind and rezone it, which we really don't have an issue with. We're glad they're expanding. The discussion surrounding data centers continues, including detailed restrictions that are needed in draft legislation and narrowing down locations that are least impactful on the township residents. We are making progress. Like one of the residents, Dave Seuss, said tonight, we probably will be going for another extension and moratorium. We will be showing progress as we go, but we certainly don't want to rush into anything with these.
I was gonna ask you that tonight, so we can, once we hit the 6 month, we can get another continuation as long as we show the progress.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. The commission decided to pause the review process on a comprehensive land use plan until additional funds can be allocated to regional planning until next year. That'll be coming up on board approval, and I'll explain that a little bit further. The next zoning commission meeting is August 13th. Public hearing is set at 6:30, and a regular meeting will be at 7. As far as the Board of Zoning Appeals, received several applications for the upcoming meeting on August 12th, including with that is a Waffle House, so they'll be on the agenda as well, seeking a variance. That it's not a conditional use, but they do have a variance on there. And then I have some board approvals here. First one is Zoning Commission requests the trustees to set a public hearing on an amendment to Appendix E to allow service stations as a conditional use permitted accessory use in the TC, IC, HC districts, eliminating non-conforming uses within these districts. I would anticipate maybe 15 minutes on this one prior to the next trustee meeting.
All right, I will, it's gonna be the 3rd, so I'll entertain a motion to set a public hearing for Monday, August 3rd at 6:45.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that? Roll call?
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
Next I have is a board approval is needed for an additional $15,000 to continue updating the comprehensive land use in 2026. If we don't approve it, then what we will do is go back and restart the comp plan in January of 2027 and finish it off with our hourly uses in 2027. This was prompted at the last Regional Planning Commission meeting. They approved the budget at the executive board and then as well as regional planning. And in that, I seen an increase from Brimfield of going to $10,000 to $15,000. And I'm like, what is this about? So I had Todd break it down. It was in your books here, but he's got it broke down as update data is 5,500 to 7,000. Attend meetings is 1,500 to 2,500. That's guessing 9 to 15 meetings. Review update GOPs, which is 3,500 to 4,500. Redo interactive info, which is 3,500 to 4,000. Redo plan in design, which is 3 to 4,500. So the range is he's estimating 17 to 22,000. Subtracting our TA hours for this year, which we still have 75 hours, which is roughly $7,500 to finish out the year. So he's at, estimating 11 to 15,000. My suggestion, if you're not in a hurry to finish the comp plan, is to go back on it in January 1st and finish it out with our TA hours.
For me, I think we have to at least table it. I think the comp plan is really important, but, we have a levy coming up. We gotta figure out how we spend the money.
Yeah, I
the best
agree.
way. If it's only delays this till January, start to pick it back up at 6 months.
And it's not gonna stop the work from the commission. They could still go forward. It's just delaying the pattern of the commission submitting it all to regional and then them
So we can still
redoing
be
the
doing
book.
the backbone work.
Yeah.
And that way we can use our TA hours for some other stuff.
Well, I think the TA this year is gonna be crucial for the data centers. We're gonna have a lot of research in that. And there's gonna be a lot of money spent trying to create that code right, so.
Makes sense.
So if you want to make a motion to table it, I'm fine with that, or if you want to push it to January, that's fine as well.
You want to table or push it to January?
Push it to January.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to hold the comprehensive land use plan until January 2027.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call?
Kevin,
yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right. Under zoning, I do have one update that I would like to share with the board. I was at a networking event and met some individuals that are working on Senate Bill 264 in Ohio. They are asking communities to get ahead of this, and one of the ways that we can support this is through zoning law changes. This is in remembrance of Megan Kelman. She was the one that was in the drive-through line ordering food. There was an altercation between her and the person behind her who was frustrated, ended up bumping her car getting out. She tried to get out of the drive-through line and she couldn't because of the concrete barrier, and he ended up killing her in the drive-through line. What they're asking is zoning laws to be changed in Ohio, and I'd like to make a motion from us to our zoning board to require that all drive-through lines that are created moving forward have an egress to it, so they can't put in a curb so that you can't get out. There's a way for people to get out in the event of an emergency that they're no longer trapped in those drive-throughs. I think it's a great initiative they're doing, and I think it helps send a message to Columbus that this needs to happen in all drive-throughs to create those emergency egresses for individuals. So I'd like to make a motion that we ask our zoning commission to consider Megan's Way Out, Senate Bill 264, as a change to our zoning regulations here in Brimfield Township.
So moved.
Second,
All right. Mike, are you good with that?
Yeah, I briefly looked it up. It's not going to be that hard to alter. I think it's going to be 600.10J. Just tonight I looked it up, and I think we can put some language in there. I mean, that's specific to drive-through facilities. So.
So we have a motion, a second on the floor. Roll call to accept that request.
Kevin,
yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
Pass this down.
Yeah, give it to Mike.
And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks,
Any
Mike.
other questions or discussions with zoning? Okay, if not, we'll move into road department. Okay, floor's yours.
Alrighty, just some updates on old business. Malloy Road, the county's still working on plans for that. Buckeye Boulevard, they did finally get it cambered and they're looking at it. And the problem is, it does look like we're gonna have more pipe to replace than what we wanted to. So, we're supposed to get together on a couple of these here within the next week or so. Hunter Ridge Island, I sent a couple guys down the other day. They cleaned up the weeds, straightened that back up. We're still road mowing. We're trying to catch up on that, but this has been a fun year on that stuff. New business, we finished up a couple culvert pipe jobs. They were completed. The storms that we had the last couple weeks is getting crazy. We had water run across roadways. I've never seen water run before in 14 years. So it's getting something fierce. We did have a couple trees go down this last storm that we'll be taking care of them here in the next few days. ODOT came out with their pricing award for this year. This year's for the 2026-2027 season. The price will be through Morton Salt again. And the price this year will be $59.87. It is actually up $12.03 from last year. Which for the last few years, I mean, the prices held the same, and now it kind of went up on things. Which, in truthfulness, is not really that bad. I mean,
How many tons do we typically buy?
we get about 1,700. A lot of the areas around Portage County and stuff, they were getting hit with $80, $90. So we're pretty good shape, so that wasn't too bad. A couple of things I have for board approval. The first board approval is, last year we were having issues with the dump truck number 26, which is the oldest one in our fleet used for snow plowing. The hitch that holds the snow plow to the truck is wore out. We've put plates in it, we've done everything for the last few years to keep it going. By the end of plow season this year, we had to chain it, where we put a chain and held it on there, for we didn't have a chance of it coming loose toward anything in the public. I'd like to replace that whole mounting system on the truck through TSI at a cost of $9,500. And the thing is that we got to kind of order now. It's about 8 weeks out to get the part in.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve dump truck plow hitch repair at $9,500 by TSI.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion on that? Any questions? Dave, they'll have that in time for Windsor.
Yeah, we'll have them time for winter. This way I can just let them know that, move forward with it. They came out and did all the measurements and all that checking to give me a number and stuff on it. So they have a place, they said it's between 6 to 8 weeks. The parts are out about 6 to 8 weeks, and then it won't take them long to put it on.
Okay. Kevin, you seem about right. I'm not a truck guy.
I guess. Did you check other places, Dave? Because that's not a Western Star truck, right? That's international.
No, that's an international.
Yeah.
Well, the only other place, you have to go to places that install plows systems. TSI does.
Where'd we buy that truck from?
Glen Hill.
Oh,
Well, we bought the truck. That truck was actually bought before I started here.
okay.
So the system on it's from Glen Hill. But this, with TSI, I mean, Glen Hill's hour plus away to get the truck down there, and then
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't guarantee what their status would be on it, where I got status with TSI to have this completed. And that's who we take our trucks through to have them completely worked on too, so.
Okay.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Roll call to accept.
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, I'm gonna bring up a little thing from the past on this next one. Sunview Pipe Project. Crano Excavating was supposed to do this a couple years ago. We were working with a family who's got a overflow system in there by one of our fire station fill stations. And our pipe going across the road is deteriorating the same as their overflow system. So what we did is we worked before with Crano. That way the company comes in and does it all at one time instead of having, say Helmling Excavating come in and I gotta try to get them together with them as they drain the pond and all that stuff. We signed the paperwork in February of 25, but we've been working on it since 24. And the price then was $33,777. And now the price, the family couldn't afford to come up with their side of their funding on that. So the price has gone up a little bit because of the price of pipe and all the limestone and that kind of stuff a little bit. It actually went up $1,680.80. So now the price would be $35,458.57. And this is to lay a 24-inch pipe across the road with them doing a complete job, road repair, premium fill all the way to the top and everything else, some tree clearing and all that stuff.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the Sunview Pipe Project at a cost not to exceed $36,000 by A. Crano Excavating.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And they're gonna get this done this year, Dave?
Yes.
Is the money still sitting there from 25?
Probably not sitting there now, but we have the money. I won't
the
reject
money's
this stuff.
there,
yes.
We're good there.
Okay.
It was probably not spent, it probably just went back into the account.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
All right. So we're good with that, Jasmine?
Yes.
All right, roll call to accept?
Kevin,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
motion passes.
Just one other little update, sorry I didn't put enough out there, but Thursday, 7/23, From 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Portage County will be doing a road culvert replacement on Mogador Road again. From House 3776 Mogador Road south to Old Forge, like the fire trucks, everybody, you'll have to come in off of Old Forge to get at them houses. I'll give this to you, Craig. From House 3789 Mogador Road and north of that house, you'll have to come in off of Talmadge Road. They're gonna be right between the two addresses, putting a new pipe across the roadway. And that's supposed to only last one day, again, like they did before.
23rd. It's Thursday.
So, and after that, that concludes my report.
All right, any questions for road department? Okay, hearing none, we'll go into cemetery.
I just want to say that, FYI, we had a headstone that was damaged in the cemetery. It has been replaced and processed through Portage Marble, and there was enough in that line item account to cover that. So it's already been taken care of and fixed.
All right, thank you for the update. That'll lead us into fiscal. Jasmine, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. First thing, we're gonna do our half-year fiscal update. Can you pull that slide up, please? All right, we're gonna go through it pretty quick. All right, so the end of our first half of 2026, our total available balance was $3,199,514.27. General fund ended in June of 2026 at $166,178.76. Our heaviest weighted fund was the special levy police at $1,061,951.20. Next slide, please. So this is basically will show you when we first got our first settlement in April, our total fund balance was at $4,236,282.94. And then this will show how we got to our ending of June with our expenditures in May of $448,000, and then in June with another $588,000 in expenditures. Next slide, please. So this is just going to show us our general fund by volatility versus our infrastructure stability. So in February 1, general funds balance was at negative $9,703.88, and then we received a revenue of $37,881.06 with the expenditures of $143,671.63, and so we ended February with a negative $115,494.43. Our 25% benchmark alignment, our quarter one, we were really good. We were under our 25% benchmarks. Our gasoline tax was at 10.55%. Special levy, road levy was at 6.6%, for a total road and bridge fund balance of $308,166.16. So by the end of March, infrastructure and road levies were pacing well below the 25% benchmark. April was our peak liquidity with a total distribution of 4.23.
Joe was just one.
Oh, one more slide. Sorry, next slide. Oh, one more after that. Sorry. I was clicking on here and you wasn't clicking. Sorry. Our April peak liquidity, the distribution of $4.23 million. General fund saw $164,445.47. Special levy police saw about $1,581,757.05. Road and bridge, $308,166.16. And special levy fire, $339,924.51. Thank you. Our May pacing acceleration operational encumbrances. So our general fund surge, our electricity encumbered is at $30,374 $1,058.69 of a budget of $50,000. One thing that I do need to, I want to do a deeper dive into is our electricity, because I'm noticing that our encumbrances are on the higher end for some of our utilities, so I do want to look at that a little bit closer. You can move to the next slide. Our June snapshot for the general fund, our June 1st balance was at $185,357.53. Additional revenue of $70,680.16, and June expenditures of $89,858.93 for a final balance of $166,178.76 on June 30th. Next slide, please. Just a June snapshot for infrastructure and road maintenance. Our gasoline tax fund, year-to-date spent $101,134.77, with a total appropriation of $281,159.51. So we spent about 35.97% there. Our road and bridge final June balance was currently at $471,910.33. For safety services and police, the core overhead was full-time salaries, admin, OPERS. We had a high burning rate for fuel operating costs, so that might be something we also want to take a look at as well, moving into our second half of the year. And these are our end of June cash positions that I've already mentioned. Just a quick overview of that. Next slide, please. And this is just where we want to see ourselves at the mid-year mark. I was very happy to see that most of our line items were at the 50% mark. Some trending below the 50% mark, which is good. So that was great to see. Next slide, please. So here we are with our public safety special levy police. End of June position was at $1,061,951.20. Our special levy fire was at a deficit of $23,525.46. Our ambulance and EMS was at negative $113,255.55. And here we are with road and bridge, gasoline tax, and special levy, road levy. So this is where we are. Don't mind that massive $695K unspent in repairs. I did notice when looking at our budget, we had this huge, our revenue should be marking at about 50% received. One of the 2195 was marking at like we only received 16%. So I was like, that doesn't look right. So I reached out to the county, waiting for a response from them. I'm thinking that it's possibly that we probably posted the levies wrong and the wrong fund balances, because when we get our tax settlements, they don't tell you which fund that levy goes to. So I'm thinking that is. I'm going to wait for confirmation, but I think that is. But it's an easy fix. Next slide. This is the last slide. So this is just basically a repeat for our general fund. So our total burn rate for our general fund was at 47.2%, which is really good. So that means that we were at our target overall with our general fund. We do have some like accounting and legal fees and auditing services, which was a little over our burn rate, but we don't expect really that much more, especially in auditing services for the rest of the year, since our audits have been wrapped up. So we should be in a good position for that. But other than that, that concludes our fiscal presentation. Any questions?
No, thank you for the update.
Oh, you're welcome. Number 2, I just have an informational update as far as our future audits. The state auditor's office will be bidding out our future audits to a IPA firm, which is just a public accounting firm. So they do not plan on coming themselves anymore. They plan on bidding our audits out. So that probably will be a new experience for us. So
do we get a say in that, or how does that work?
I am not sure. They did send me some paperwork just to fill out. Once I send it out, I will ask some questions to see if we do have a say in that.
'Cause I mean, it'd be nice if we had an opinion on what auditors come in.
Right, so I will ask that though.
Okay.
Okay.
Did they give a reason why they're bidding it out? Is it just internal cost
I
savings?
do believe, let me pull up, I have the email up right here. I do believe she said the workload is what I believe. So they're going to try to bid out the township's next audits to an IPA firm. She said, some of her audits had to go out to make room for ones that she had to take back. So I guess she had relieved some, but she has to take some back, so she has to make room for, I guess they just don't have enough manpower for the most part, so, yeah.
And
So,
are we gonna have an audit next year, or are we off now? Are we back to the every other year cycle?
so we will have a double audit, so we will have 25, 26 next year,
Okay, and then we'll get a relief
yeah,
for a year.
yeah, for a year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the third is just, I just need a motion to approve the 2027 tax estimated budget that we had the public hearing for earlier today.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2027 tax estimate.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Meeting was duly advertised, correct, Rick? We had it online for the public hearing.
We did, that's correct.
All right, we did host a public hearing today. We had one person in attendance, just to kind of ask what our tax estimate was. No comments on that. And I think that checks all the boxes. So, roll call to accept.
All right, Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. And that is all for fiscal.
All right, we do have 2 executive sessions this evening. However, prior to executive session, as we have started doing, we will open it up for the good of the order of Brimfield Township. If you'd like to speak, we'll give you a 3-minute time period to present any information or to speak to the board. As usual, it's not a back and forth. We'll gather your information. We do ask that you sign in before you speak. So, for the good of the order. Anybody want to talk tonight? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G for the purposes of considering the following manners: to confer with legal counsel concerning pending court action, and to consider the appointment or employment of a public official or employee.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion. Roll call?
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we will have the legal counsel one first. That's going to be the board and Jasmine and our township administrator. Chris, we'll be back up for the second one as fast as we can. All right, we are out of executive sessions. Per our discussion in executive session, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the township administrator to offer a conditional employment offer to a candidate for the police captain position. Give me a second.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? I think we're gonna wait for the conditional offer to be made, information to be shared, and then we'll share a name at the upcoming meeting, our special meeting on Monday. All right, roll call to accept?
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting unless there's something else to say.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Kevin?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 10:28 PM.
May have set a new record.
Yes, we have.